Good morning. My name is Lauren Pachalski, and I'm a member of Chapel Advisory Committee. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing this week's chapel speaker, Venerable Joseph Prasasuk. He is a first-generation immigrant from Laos and spent his early life in the restaurant, food, and beverage industry for 20 years. In 2016, Venerable Prasasuk was formally ordained as a Buddhist monk and moved to Georgia in 2018, where he continues his practice of being a Theravada Buddhist monk at Manodham Buddhist Temple in Chickamauga, Georgia. Through the acts of taking refuge in the Triple Gem, he proudly serves the Buddhist community. Please give a big red welcome to Venerable Prasasuk.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, first of all, for having me here, and thank you for Reverend Gilmore for the invitation to be speaking in front of you today. I'm a little bit nervous, so I think it's normal. This is probably the largest crowd I have ever spoken to. And again, I also want to introduce my senior monk. This is Ajahn Kek. He has been a monk now for going on 34 years. So he was ordained or was a novice monk since he was 9 years old. So today's topic, I think, is mainly dealing with Buddhism, correct? So I just wanted to give you an overall general idea of what Buddhism is about and maybe living a lifestyle as a monk. As you all know, just heard, I was ordained in 2016 in California. And there was a point where, I was living through life, going through the daily understanding of making a living, making ends meet, and then it got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And then somehow, some way, life manifests me to take a look into my life at that moment. And then it gave me the opportunity to say, okay, why don't I become a monk through an invitation from another monk? And the purpose for me to become a monk at the beginning was I wanted to repay back my mom and dad. In the Asian culture or in the Laotian culture, that's what guys can do as a way to pay back mom and dad, for giving them their life. Okay. And what I have here on the stage here is an alms bowl. An alms bowl is what daily monks would go in the morning and then walk in the country of Laos or in Asia, and they would walk to each and every household or the neighboring town or homes and ask for food. And in return, we give them blessings. Yeah. Okay. And I know I'm going off not so good, but forgive me. Yeah. Let's talk about Buddhism. Okay. And why is it so important? And to me, and maybe to many of the rest of the world, being the fourth largest religion, and how it took place. So it started back in 2,500 years ago. Started with a prince named Gautama Siddhartha. So he was a prince. He had all the lavish goods, even anything that you could have. But as a child, he was already prophesied that one day he will be a great person, an enlightened being. And so he lived his life as a prince. He was pretty much in a box. his parents groomed him to be the next ruler. But things along the way kind of led him to what do you call it? He left all that. That's what I meant to say. He left all that and he went out to the woods and tried to understand why we have suffering. That was his main goal, is to understand why people have suffering and how to cope with that. And so he went to the woods and learned from several hermits and several monks that during that time, but none of that satisfied him or gave him that understanding that he was yearning for, until one day he sat underneath the Bodhi tree. And with that, he sat for quite some time. He didn't eat. He was all down to the bones because he was trying to obtain this enlightenment for himself. And there came to be a turning point where, he said that his body was just about to give up. And then there was a kind person that came by and happened to walk by him and seen him in that state. He was so fragile. He was, and offer him food. And that's when that happened to him, something within him clicked, and then it gave him the enlightenment to say that the middle path is the way to live life. So that's his enlightenment at that moment. But more so than that, of course, is accumulation of many previous lives that came to play to understand how he was awakened as well. But before I go on with more of that, if I may ask Ajahn Kak, and we do a small prayer, and then so you can hear a little bit Ajahn Nimon. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammang saranang gacchāmi, Sanghang saranang gacchāmi. Thank you. And thank you. What that chant actually means, or to say, is that I pay homage to the Buddha. And then 3 times. And we say, Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, I take refuge in the Buddha. Dhammang saranang gacchāmi, I take refuge in the Dhamma. Sanghang saranang gacchāmi, I take refuge in the Sangha. These are the three triple gems in Buddhism that lay out the kind of the foundation for everybody that seeks to be a Buddhist, would upheld. So when we take refuge to the Buddha, it means that, okay, we can kind of lean on him to be the guide. And then as far as the Dhamma go, which are his teachings. And then the Sangha gives us like the monastic community to be under. So we can, when we want to go to become a Buddhist, we can utilize those 3 things as a refuge to go. Okay, let's see. So, the 4 Noble Truths, what are they? 1, there are the foundational teachings of Buddhism. The truth of suffering is the first one, which is called dukkha. which means that the unsatisfactory or dissatisfaction in life is inevitable. That is one of the first truths. The second truth is the origin of suffering, samudaya, which gives the craving or the attachment for pleasure and being or non-being. This is the cause of our suffering. The truth has to do with identifying and coming to terms with the cause of suffering. Okay, and the third one is how to end suffering, the cessation of suffering, nirodha, which means the elimination of succession of craving and attachment. The path is the fourth one. The path to end suffering is magga, which is the methodical way to practice Buddha's teaching. And it goes into understanding or knowing what the Eightfold Path is, which is the path to enlightenment. So what Buddha came up with, he left us with all these knowledge of him going through all his days of meditation and obtaining his wisdom to be able to leave for us at least a tool for you or for anybody here in a way to understand what suffering is all about. It's about not getting what we want. And then why is that suffering? You know, what's the root cause of it? And then what's the pathway? What is the way to kind of get you out that unhappiness? Because we always want to be happy all the time, right? Most of the time. Yeah, we want to be happy. So he kind of left us a tool, but, you know, I could be here all day, you know, and talking about the ways, but, you know, with the amount of time I won't be able to do today. So we kind of get kind of just a general idea. And what he left for us, I think, is amazing, is simply meditate. Okay? When you go out and when you're out and about, you know, you're doing something that maybe doesn't make you feel good, maybe turn yourself and look within, you know, so that you can maybe cleanse your mind of what has happened, to maybe reflect on what is going on, to understand why the cause of suffering, why are you unhappy? And maybe there's a solution will come to mind to help with that. So that's why when we as Buddhist monks, we emphasize on meditation, because it's above and beyond what we can understand and comprehend unless we take the time to put in the work and meditate. And how does one meditate? There's, you can stand meditating, you can lie down, you can sit, or you can be at a lotus position with a crossed leg and sit and simply close your eyes, right? And when you close your eyes, it's not meant for you to not think. That's not meditation. It is meant for you to have all these thoughts and all these happy thoughts, good thoughts, bad thoughts, all these will come and bombard you. And what are you to do? Simply observe. Just keep closing your mind and being open to what's to come. It's a way of, for me, meditation was a way for me to distance or disconnect from, let's say, my phone. You know, there's a lot of distractions on your phone, right? And it's a way for me to hone in, look inside the amazing phenomenon within yourself, I think that that's as a tool to way to know who you are more so than you are today. If I were to ask you today, who are you? Can you answer that? Who are you? Is a question that is asked. Maybe you can do that too. Who am I? I am Venerable Joseph Prasasuk, but that's not who I am. I am, this body of mine makes me. So the very hard topic to understand is the understanding when Buddha said the no self or the non-self is what he came up with. But then there is a very, very tough subject to talk about. But I wanted to hopefully leave you today with the understanding that life is good and then life is bad. So when you are feeling bad, hopefully you will think of me today and learn to kind of incorporate meditation into your life. Yeah. I think my main message today is I want you as young minds to say that it's okay to feel bad and it's great to feel good. But when you're not feeling good, this too shall pass. That is the word of the Buddha. Okay. How much time do I have? Yeah. And let's see. I wanted to also kind of give a chance for anybody here to maybe have a question that they would like to kind of ask. Yeah.
Anyone has a question?
Yes.
You meditate daily?
My meditation could range from, minimum of 10 minutes and up to 30 minutes, up to an hour, 2 hours, depending on the day. Because, I'm at the temple, there's really not too much activities that we do besides waking up in the morning, doing a prayer about 4 a.m., and then in the evening around 6 p.m. And then when we do our short prayer for half an hour, and then we probably sit for about half an hour. Yeah.
Another question.
Our temple is located in Chickamauga, 364 Davis Lane, Chickamauga, Georgia.
If I could just say something about that, my role will be visiting the temple for the third time. This Thursday will be last period. So if you happen to have free and you would like to tag along, there's a permission form on the side of your prayers. Let me know about being here today tomorrow. It's a beautiful place. You're driving down the parkway, and next thing you know, there's a big golden Buddha on the hill.
Does anyone have any inquisitive mind?
Question about the robes, your garments.
Our robe, this is very tradition. This is more like a modern color. Usually the robes are dyed like maybe beige or beige, tan, brownish color. It's what they had to utilize in back in the days. But this is more like the current color for us. Yeah, you might see there's a dark purple, brown, deep brown, so several. Yeah.
How many monks are in your temple, and what are the expectations for monks?
There's the two of us, just me and Ajahn Kag currently. And the expectation is to dive into Buddha's teaching, to kind of comprehend so that we can be of service for the community. Yeah. Yes, for us, we have the option, and meat is okay. I know that a lot of maybe Buddhist monk or other religion only their dietary is mainly vegetarian, but for us, we don't have an option to say, because we all offer food from whatever the community provides us. And what Buddha say is that, it's a thing to just, let's see, live life, like to have food, you have to have food, right? So don't be picky. That's what he means, that don't be picky, because it will only help you in that moment. So the food for us is not so big, and meat is okay. Yeah.
Could you say something about the Buddhist community around the temple, how you as monks serve them, and how they would come to the temple for worship and prayer?
I'm sorry, question again?
The Buddhist community around your temple, how do they participate in Buddhism? How do they come to the temple for worship and prayer? How do you all serve them?
Okay. So the people that we serve here are mainly Laotian community. Mainly is because they're the one who started up the temple. And living here in United States is our way of connecting with our roots and having an identity here in America. And by doing that, we normally have a ceremony or a celebration once a month. And we would invite the community here, the Laotian community. I think there may be about 20 or 30 families only, so small group. Yeah. And then we would do some prayers, teach them about dana, generosity, and of course the words of Buddha and the meaning behind that, and have lunch, meals, a way of getting together and talk about how to be a Buddhist, why it is important to be a Buddhist. And overall, what Buddhism or what any religion in the world today teaches is to do good, right? Is to not to harm others, to be mindful, to have this state of mind where you have your conscience purified, purify defilements, bad things that that you do not care and for, but then it's there, and to understand that. Yeah.
Last question.
Mm.
Do you guys celebrate holidays in the temple? If you do, does the community participate in it? Does gather around a big table, just have feast?
One more time, the question again.
Do you celebrate holidays in the community? Are there festival days that you celebrate as Buddhists and the rest of the community celebrate with you?
Oh, I see. I think that once a year we hold like a big event, like a New Year, Lao New Year celebration, and that usually tends to happen around April or May. Yeah. And then, you're more than welcome. I think that from today on, I think that I will have more people join us. Yeah.
So the world religion class visits the temple every semester. If you cannot make it this week, if people wanted to visit the temple, what would they need to do?
Simply, I guess I can leave my phone number. Is the best way to connect me and to text me. I usually keep my schedules open, and very simple, yeah. And I would love to see you, I'm more like a one-on-one kind of person, I can carry conversation a lot better. As far as the group goes, it's a welcome as well. I would like you to come and stop by and above and beyond this, because I know that while I'm sitting here may not be as clear or defined or as specific to the things that I wanted to do here today. But hopefully through my practice of coming and seeing you, I can be better at myself and present to you a better understanding of what Buddhism is all about. Yeah, and I appreciate everybody here. Yeah.
We say thank you.